Welcome back to the channel, guys. All right, just want to make sure my mic was actually plugged in. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve, and today we are going to take a unique perspective on, well, we always take unique perspectives here, let's be honest, on Ryan, Blake, and Justin. We're going to be reaching into my background in psychology, and I actually want to look at a couple of his interviews and pull in positive psychology to what he's saying. And I'm also going to talk about why, hello, it's so nice to see you. I'm also going to talk about why I genuinely believe that that Ryan and Blake have issues with people that are naturally positive, with people that are naturally good people. Why might they have issues? And I think I can explain at least some of it from a lens of psychology, but I want to take it again from the lens of positive psychology and positive emotions. So tying it all back to how Justin not naturally, but he does have that good, feel good energy. He has that positive outlook. We already know that the LA Times had said that he's toxic. He's so positive, he's toxic. It was a bad workplace vibe, apparently. We're going to dive into all of it. But first, before we get there, oh, do I even have it up? I don't even think I have it up. Have you guys heard that Brendan Sklinar, today's going to be kind of a fun hangout. Have you guys heard that Brendan Sklinar apparently had no idea at all that the brooch was also worn by Justin? What? Let me pull it up. I'm going to pull up the article. Hello. Oh, my goodness. Welcome to the channel. Oh, I'm so happy you guys are heading over this way. I know her community because I've hung out with her community, full of amazing people. So I think you guys will enjoy yourselves here. I think you'll fit in perfectly with the community over here. I'm just trying to finish your interview. Don't go live now. Happy new week. Hello, amazing people. I think the two communities are going to get along so well. I hope you guys enjoyed videos on both sides on this channel as well, on our channel. Our channel because we're a community. It is our channel. But anyway, let's flip over to people quick. And then I do want to take that unique perspective on Justin Baldoni, Blake, and Ryan, because I don't think a lot of people have a psychology background where they can pull that in. And I know when I did the last video on Justin, people loved it, especially in the world we live in with so much negativity. And it's really easy to get dragged into the heaviness and the negativity of Blake and Ryan, to be honest. I think we need some positivity. So we're gonna lean on Justin for that today. All right, what do you guys think about this? Have you guys seen this? Brendan Sklinar addresses whether there was a hidden meaning to wearing same pin as Justin Baldoni. It's an exclusive as well, by the way. Apparently, it was a mistake, guys. Okay. It's not like it's, a mass-produced brooch. I don't buy it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. But Brendan Sklinar is setting the record straight about wearing the same pin as Justin Baldoni earlier this month, when the 1923 star stepped out for the 2025 Vanity Fair Oscar party on March 2nd. He accessorized with the look of a floral brooch. Long live the brooch, he wrote on Instagram. I just find it so hard to believe, but I don't know. Maybe when your directors put in the basement, you didn't have a chance to see what he wore, maybe, but I still find it hard to believe. Anyway, going on and on, he says, oh, that was total happenstance. I woke up in the morning and saw an article and I was like, oh, damn, I literally had no idea. I had an idea I wanted to wear like a floral brooch of some kind. And that was the color that I liked the best. And lo and behold, someone also wore that prior to me wearing it. It bothers me that he won't even say Justin's name. And it bothers me that I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, guys, maybe he's working with Justin behind the scenes. I don't know. What do you guys? Hello. It's so nice to see all you guys. I hope you guys are having a great start to your week. I'll admit my week has been off to a slow start. I closed out a program that I was running with a group of clients today. It was our last call. And with the time change, because Canada just can't give it up, my whole week, I know an hour seems like I'm being very dramatic, but an hour difference in my time is just with the farm and the rescue animals and the dogs and a business and clients and streaming and trying to keep on top of this case. I don't know. It's a lot. But what do you guys think? Do you think Brandon, good evening from Denmark. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. It is 3 p.m. here. do you guys think? Do you think this was a mistake? Do you think it was an accident? Well, he probably think. Here's the thing. There's some people online saying that he probably just did it to get attention. I don't think that would be the intention, to be quite honest, because he had to have known it would be also negative attention or people would assume something. So I just do not believe that Brandon Sklinar had done this because he thought he would get attention. And he has the movie, right? Or sorry, the TV show 1923 right now, which I watched season 1. Season 2, I got maybe 2 episodes in, not so good. But that's my take on that. We also did a video on Paul Feig's wife previously, so we're not going, I know a lot of people are covering it today. We already did that. I think we did that Saturday. I took the screenshots and then they were deleted within minutes. So we've already covered that. But I want to get into Justin and talk about positivity, his view on life. I actually have a book. Oh, that room had chickens in it and they're dusty and they create dust. Dye-wise, that speaks a lot to what Justin is saying in one of his interviews. So I want to talk about that as well, because I think it's very profound. And the positive psychology lens on why I believe Blake and Ryan don't like Justin. But where are we even start here? Let's start with the one interview, this one. We'll start here. And then it'll give us context. Imagine this article suddenly changes after reading it. Yeah, probably. That's happened before. You guys know we've been on covering something and things have changed in articles while we're on covering it. So that would not even surprise me. All right. Let's see what he has to say. This is Justin Baldoni on serving others.
Talk about some of the work you do. And what does gratitude mean to you?
Gratitude, that's a really good question. For me, gratitude is taking a pause from this material world that I think is designed to distract us from what really matters, and just taking account of the tremendous blessings that every single one of us have. And that looks different for everybody. And it can be as simple as, oh, wow, I'm getting to breathe. I can walk. Oh, wow, I'm in a marriage, or I'm in a relationship, or my parents are still alive. There is, as long as we are breathing, we can find something to be grateful for. And I think that gratitude leads directly to happiness.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I love this, first of all, because again, my background's in psychology. Hello, P, it's so nice to see you. And I've studied positive psychology separate from, I found positive psychology many years. If I'm being honest, I'm going to let you guys know something. I found positive psychology long after I was actually in the field as a counselor. I found it, I got certified as a coach within it because I had no intentions of going back to school for a master's, another master's, and doing all that again. I had no intention. But I started studying positive psychology. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. When I was in the counseling field, I would have been turned off by the idea of positive psychology because I would have thought, well, must be nice, kind of like Blake and Ryan, right? Must be nice to be positive all the time. There's got to be something going on there. But essentially what he's talking about is, and there's a lot of research on it, is the upward spiral of positive emotions, which science has shown, I can even show you guys a study after we're done with this video, counters downward spirals of negativity. So when we think back to that LA Times article where his employees were apparently saying, he's toxic, there's too much positivity, he's having us sign off things with love. The reality is that's a company culture that he wanted to create of positivity, but the research supports so many benefits above and beyond just your mood. Productivity goes up, turnover goes down, lessens depression and anxiety. Like there's so many benefits to having a workplace and employees that are focused on positivity and an upward spiral of emotions. So that's essentially what he's talking about, is you start with gratitude and it's kind of your gateway into happiness. It's that upward spiral. Let's see what you guys are chatting about. I can't get a read on him. He wants to be Batman, so maybe he's playing the game. Yeah, Brandon, I struggle with getting a read on him too. I think he's someone that would very easily be able to be swayed from one side to the other, I think maybe Blake's crew saw his post on the Brooch and they are now pressuring him to answer that way, or he'll get pulled into from WME or something. That's a good point too, because Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because up until that point, he had been kind of playing neutral, right? Like, I'm just team, it ends with us. So that's very possible. I remind myself every day that there's something to be grateful about. Absolutely. Maybe I'm giving Brendan Sklinar too much credit. I don't know. It's possible. Yes, like the screen. Guys, it's been a Monday. I do not deal with time changes well at all. I was up all night. Throws me off. I'm a creature of habit. All right, let's see. I think the other part was 5:58. But I've just been diving into like old interviews from him, and he's a wise soul.
A beautiful piece of art. What's so interesting about doing, I think, 25 or so now documentaries about individuals who are dying but living amazing lives is that it kind of forces you to think about your own mortality. And it's something that I think we spend our lives running from. This idea that one day all of us are not going to be here anymore. And that's a big thing to run away from. But if you think about it, and there's a reason why every religion in the history of the world asks us to kind of meditate on it, it's because if you can think about your own mortality and become friends with it, it will influence the way that you live. So the byproduct of that for me is I wake up every day and it is on the back of my mind. The other side of that is I definitely need therapy. So
There's nothing wrong with therapy. I tell all my clients, especially entrepreneurs and those that have online brands, therapy is something everyone needs. Take care of your mental health. He's already doing a Paul Feig movie. Interesting. Yeah, the time change is brutal. Okay, so what he's talking about in terms of our own mortality, like, I don't know. I hope you guys like deep conversations, because that's where we're going today. That's where we're going. So buckle up if you don't like them. But it's discussed in the book Die Wise. So this is by Stephen Jenkinson, and it is a fantastic book. And it's basically it's the manifesto for sanity and soul. And it's basically looking at the idea of reckoning with our mortality in a deeply intentional way. So as Justin is saying, we often avoid it. So he's basically saying that, and which research shows, that people really don't start fully living until they get sometimes a terminal illness, until something horrible goes wrong. I like deep combos. Amazing. So instead of waiting for something horrible to go wrong, the concept is, what if we put ourselves in a place where, as Justin says, I wonder if he read this book. Someone has to find out if he read this book, where you wake up every day, not ignoring death, not ignoring our own mortality, but being wildly aware of it. And I have had activities for clients in the past where it's like, let's just say you have 365 days, because it's easy, right? I have like 40 years left. I have 30 years left, et cetera, et cetera. What if you had 365 days? How would you be living today? What would you be doing? What are the decisions you'd be making? So he says in this book, in Die Wise, basically practice dying while still being alive, meaning not just preparing for the physical event of this life being over, but cultivating a relationship with it long before it arrives, because it's going to change how you live. It's going to make each day much more meaningful. You're going to have a greater sense of gratitude and happiness, appreciation for those around you. You're going to have a much deeper connection to the mundane, right? Actually, this is something I was just saying to clients today. I said, we spend most of our lives seeking like the big thing, looking for the big thing. And then you get the big thing. And the reality is, psychology also tells us that you're excited about it for like a week, and then you want the next big thing. So we live our lives constantly chasing the big thing rather than being present too. And so I hope you guys, oh, hello. We have new friends here. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the community. I'm so honored that you guys are coming over from, oh my gosh. I'm just really honored. Thank you so much for being here, guys. That was a dream come true interview, and everyone here knows that I was very stressed. Yeah, I was very stressed for that interview. So thank you so much for being here. What was I saying? Ryan Reynolds is probably projecting on Justin a lot of the things he feels about himself and thinks about himself. We're going to get there. I agree with where you're going. But anyway, so the idea with this, my friends, is start to cultivate that every day. And that's where I was going with my client. So I had said to them, we're constantly seeking the big thing, but you're missing the appreciation for the now. And I pointed out how every time she would hit these big milestones in her business, in her life, and for like a day, she was excited about it. And then she was on to the next thing and on to the next thing. And she'd keep burning out. And she would assume that building a business and getting like a bigger life of all the things she wanted is what was burning her out. Like certain things in my business were burning me out. And I said, no, what's burning you out is constantly chasing without being appreciative and having gratitude for the now. And so we've implemented this practice where every day she wakes up and she's like, okay, what if there was 365 days left, 364 days left? How can I cultivate deeper relationships? How can I cultivate a way of appreciating those around me, and rather than taking everything for granted? And often in the book, he talks about grief as the midwife to your capacity to be immensely grateful for being born, which is you need the light with the dark. And I actually found another video from Justin talking about that as well. So we're going to flip over to that video. He is very profound. I said this before and I got backlash. People were very upset with me. Not everyone. When I said this, but I said, the stuff he says and what he quotes, for example, bell hooks, it's not like performative. So if someone was performing and being performative around self-development and spirituality, I use the example of they'd be quoting like Tony Robbins or Eckhart Tolle. Is there anything wrong with Eckhart Tolle? No. Right? So the person said like, oh, that means you're being performative. What I mean by that is usually someone that's being performative, being fake, right? This fake positivity, this fake spirituality, they're going to grab like the popular names. They're going to grab the names people know. They're going to start quoting people that are like top of mind so that you relate to them. They're not going to pull bell hooks out of their back pocket. Most people don't know who bell hooks is. So when I had said that, the fact that he pulls on names that are so profound tells me that Justin isn't performative. I think he was supporting Blake Lively, but didn't want the negative PR. Interesting. Yeah. I think, he's an interesting character. I cannot read him fully. I will admit that. All right, let's look what he says here. His advice for perfectionism. Very similar to kind of what I was saying with grief as a midwife to your capacity to be immensely grateful for being born. You need the light with the dark. It's another thing I often say to my clients, right? You need the light with the dark. You don't know what hot is if you don't know what cold is. You don't know what light is if you don't know what dark is. You don't know what happiness is if you don't know what sadness is. You need the light with the dark.
Therapist told me the other day, and I want to share with you. I wish somebody would have shared with me when I was younger. Is that human beings are like globes. We're like a globe. And imagine that the sun is hitting the globe. Well, at any one point, the sun might be hitting me where I am here in New York. But on the other side of the world, it's dark. And we have to start thinking about ourselves in this way, where we're not all light. We're not all dark. And sometimes the sun's going to be shining on me, and sometimes it's not. But I don't have to be all light to be a good person. I don't have to be all one thing, because what makes me human is that I'm a combination of both light and dark. I can be bright, and I can also have.
And we talk about that. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt so I don't get dinged for playing this too long. I get so enthralled in what people say and I forget to pause. And then I get notifications on the back end within YouTube that I made a mistake again. I shouldn't have done that. This is what we say all the time on the channel, right? No one's perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. But how can we appreciate also the human journey, which includes the light and the dark?
A shadow. And at the end of the day, nobody wants to be around somebody who's perfect all the time because they're not relatable. So embrace your imperfections, embrace your shadow, embrace your darkness, and know that the journey in life is overcoming those things, embracing those things, and then stepping into the light. I wish somebody told me that when I was your age. I hope it's helpful.
I absolutely love that. I wish someone told me that when I was younger too. To me, the formula to live at peace is to live every day like it's your last one. I love that. You are going to fit in so well here. I'm so happy you're here, and treat every friend like it's the last time you'll see them. That is fantastic advice. That is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Some people hate deeper conversations. Small talk is good at times, but it's not sustainable for me. I'm the same way. I am the exact same way. I try. So I love the updates, like the quick bite-sized updates from cases like this too, but I can't get away from the deeper conversations. I just can't. Hi, Julia. What's wrong? Oh, thank you for the kisses. Thank you. You're fine. Oh, thank you. Are you getting hungry? You get down. Thank you. He's hard to read because he doesn't have a personality. He's blank or bland. Yeah, that's part of it too. Can you not steal that? Thank you. I do agree with that. Oh, now all the puppies are up. I'm just going to message my husband to come get the dogs. No, let's not do that. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Hi, guys. All right. I'll try to focus with the dogs acting up in the background. Hello, Mel. It's so nice to see you. Love bell hooks. See? You guys are my people. But thought she was more Black feminist history. We'll have to catch up on her. No, she's one of the things I work with a lot with my clients with. We'll just go there. A lot of my clients with is the maiden to mother journey, which is kind of that inner child healing, if you will. And her and Marion Woodman are basically the founders of that work. If you like bell hooks, Marion Woodman is fantastic. Addicted to Perfection. Again, I was just recommending that book to clients today. I think that's upstairs though, next to my bed. So I'm reading it again. But bell hooks Addiction to Perfection is fantastic. All right. So sorry guys, I get distracted so easy. Do you mind just closing this door so I don't get distracted? You're gonna have to close that first. Sorry, guys. I just came from Miss Flaw's channel and subscribed. Well, welcome. We're just doing a fun impromptu live stream talking about, deep topics involving dying wise, bell hooks, Marion Woodman. Sometimes we have really deep conversations around here. So welcome. The community is so sweet here. I think you guys will absolutely love it. So make yourselves at home, please. All right. Did I have one more with? Oh, I did have one more with Justin. Let's flip over to the last one. And then I want to get into why I think Blake and Ryan have such a problem with him for many reasons. But one of the main reasons is now that I'm starting to meet people that Blake had problems with, not Justin yet, unfortunately. I honestly feel that she has a problem with people that just exude good energy and exude kindness. And I have a theory on it from psychology, but let's watch this clip first.
Commit an act of soul murder. So soul murder is when we as young boys have to stuff our emotions down. Feelings are an attribute of the soul. Yeah. Right? So when we stuff our feelings down, when we're told that we're not allowed to show emotions, that we got to be strong and tough and we can't show any weakness, we're creating a very rigid box for ourselves. And over time, you stop learning. Yeah. You stop learning how to feel. You stop being able to feel. And then so if I get to a situation when I'm older, I don't even know what I'm feeling. The first time I went to therapy, they asked me, how am I feeling? And I told them how I thought I was feeling. Yeah. He said, no, how are you feeling? How are you really feeling? And I had no idea because I had no vocabulary for my own feelings. Coming out more.
That is something. So I, again, worked in the field for a long time as a counselor, and especially with the youth that I worked with, but also adults. Sorry if you hear roosters in the background. It's sunny today and the birds are going crazy. Our roosters are so happy. So one of the things you would notice is you ask them how you're doing today, or you ask someone how they're feeling, and they're like, I'm good, or I'm sad. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Well, I'm happy. Okay, a little bit more. Well, I'm pissed, right? We have such a limited vocabulary and experience of emotions, and that starts when we're young, but we start to see it as we develop, and we actually don't know how to access how we feel. And I see that again, even in adults I work with now in coaching and spirituality. I start every call. I would be like part of Cafe Gratitude. Blake and Ryan would hate me because I do the same thing that Justin does with starting the day with gratitude. So I start every call with my clients with, what are you celebrating right now? What are you celebrating today? So Blake and Ryan would actually despise me because I do the exact same thing Justin does. And when I start working with people, let me tell you, they really struggle with coming up with what's going really well in their life, really struggle. And I think all of us at times when we are going through hard times, we all struggle with it, right? We lost our husky a couple of weeks ago now. And let me tell you, I was having a hard time coming up with positivity and gratitude in the moment. And coming back to a place now where I have it is still difficult after that. But when we can shift our perspective and really come into this place where we're experiencing deeper emotions, and the first thing we think of is something to be grateful for rather than something to complain about, it changes our entire lives. So I'm going to flip over to a research study. So we just do research studies over here. You guys are like, Ashley, we just came here for pop culture. Get lost with your research study. Hello, Kitty. I hope you had a great weekend. It's so nice to see you. So true, when men bottle up their emotions, they either go one, avoidant, two, violent. Yeah. For some reason, avoidants are glorified as bad boy in movies. That's a good point. I saw a quote once and it said, check on your strong friends or check on your tough friends because they're the ones struggling the most. And I was like, oof. Yeah, that hits. Because I can relate to that myself. I was always very independent. I left home very early due to my childhood. And I was on my own. I was like, I'll just deal with it myself. Oh, welcome to the family. Oh my goodness. It's so nice to have you guys here. And you guys have a live to jump on right away, a community to get to know. These guys are fantastic here. So I think you're going to love everyone. You guys are all going to get along. All right. So when we're looking at this study, the upward spiral of positive emotions counter downward spirals of negative emotions. So basically, when we look at the LA Times article, remember guys, I don't even know. Time is a construct. Not only because I'm ADHD, but because, I haven't had a full day off in ages. Hello, guys. We want research. You guys are my people. When we talked about the LA Times article, all they could really come up with for Justin and what was wrong with him is he was too positive. He was having people sign off as with love, right? Well, one of the interesting things for me is if we look, and I was thinking about this, if you guys ever want to know what I think about in my free time, this is what I think about. Good night from Norway. Oh my goodness. Hello. I would love to visit Norway. I'd love to do more traveling. Unfortunately, with a farm, that's probably not in the cards. All right. So when we start to think about what really is Blake and Ryan's problem with positive people, because again, as I meet more people that have had problems with them, everyone that I meet that's had problems with them is just lovely and so sweet, right? Well, here's the thing, and you guys might not know. Let me know if you knew this. 50% of our emotions, and this is from psychological research, are predetermined by our genetics. So that's your base point, which can be scary at first, but don't worry, we're going to go into a little bit more. But 50% of our emotions are determined by our genetics. Now, when we look at that can explain why some people are happier than others and why some people are a little bit more miserable than others, right? If we look back at, and you contrast, and I should have had, maybe I'll do a video on it later. My brain was exploding getting you guys, I'm trying to finish, not trying. I hate that word. Guys, call me out on it if you hear me say trying. I hate that word. I am not trying. I am completing a expose around dog pool. And I just needed to relax and have fun with you guys and not have to do slides for once because I'm doing so many slides for that. But grief can also teach us great lessons. Yes. And is unavoidable and necessary part of life. You got it. You have to experience it all. And that's exactly what this book is about. Grief is that doorway into appreciating your life. And sometimes, it doesn't mean it's easy. Okay. So when we look at the history of Ryan, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys will correct me. From what I can find, Ryan Reynolds had a very strict upbringing. And I found some stuff saying that he used kind of humor to cope. And if you look at Justin's upbringing, from what I can find, he talks about having blamed his dad for him being quote unquote soft. So for me, and again, knowing only that, based on the two, you get a little bit of an insight, right? One person comes from a little bit more of a strict upbringing. That could be genetics, not deeply in touch with emotions. And you could look at maybe Justin's side and maybe being, his dad being softer, or what he called softer. I believe he talks about that in his TED Talk. and how he saw that as a weakness. So his side might be a little bit more inclined to being present with emotions, positivity, full spectrum of the human experience. And that could be how we're seeing emotions come into play, where 50% of your emotions are predetermined. So that's like your set point. Now, traditionally, what people would have said is that kind of like if you set your thermostat, right? You set your thermostat for 70 degrees, it might go up to 72, it might go down to 68, but you're not going to move too far from that, is traditionally what psychology would say. But we now know we're really going there, guys. Everyone that's new is going to be like, what did I get into? Why am I here? So we know in neuroplasticity that we're not as rigid as we previously thought we were, but 50% typically sets your genetic set point for happiness or not. However, it's also been scientifically proven that only 10% of our emotions are affected by our circumstances and situation. So that's where you get someone that something horrible can happen and they're like, it's fine, I'll figure it out. Whereas the same situation can happen to someone else and they struggle. Actually, in fact, my interest in psychology in university was around risk versus resilience. Yeah, I thought so, Julia. Thank you. Ryan Reynolds, strict father, caught brothers. Yes, I thought I saw the same thing. Thank you for confirming that. Should make a trying tip jar to raise money for the farm. Yeah, I love it. A trying tip jar. That is so good. I say that to also my clients, right? If there's something your vocabulary you're trying to switch around or move, have someone point it out for you. Here from Flossom Talk. Oh my goodness. Welcome. You guys are jumping. We're just throwing you right in the deep end. We're going deep into psychological research today. Welcome. It's not always such a serious stream. Everyone's new. Make sure to check out all the exposés we have on Ryan Reynolds, Ari Emanuel. Who else? Our friend Nick Shapiro with the CIA and Black Box. Oh my goodness, so many new friends. Welcome. Oh my gosh, your puppy is adorable. We are big fans of dogs, animals in general here. Thanks, Mom, for giving me anxiety. Yeah. Legit. Thanks for that. Okay, so 10% of our emotions, which is actually pretty shocking to me, and it always still blows my mind, is affected by our circumstances. So again, that's why you might go through something, you can maintain a positive attitude, and someone goes through the same thing and they struggle with that. I also find Justin Baldoni tends to be someone that seems very positive regardless of what he's going through. I really don't see it as fake when you see videos of him smiling, right? Again, the Blakes of the world call him performative, or him taking pictures with people that tend to see him. I genuinely think that his baseline is higher. And not only that, he actively works to cultivate a higher baseline for positive emotions, which is different than toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is like, we also call it spiritual bypassing in the more spiritual world, where you're avoiding negative emotions. That's not it. A growth mindset that's associated with positivity is the idea that, yeah, you could say, see the silver lining, but it's the idea of you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out. Life only works out one way, so make sure to find out how to make it the best way. I love that. That is so good. These live streams are a spiritual journey. We bounce around like a ball on the inside of a pinball machine, and often we come out better individuals by the end. I love that. We do kind of bounce around on live streams. Absolutely. And you guys, hey, you guys in the comments kept asking for like more deeper spiritual stuff and positive on Justin. So I'm just giving you guys what you want. All right. So this means 40% of our emotions are within our control. And with also saying that, research is showing that, yes, we have set points, but it might not be as rigid as we previously believed it to be, that it might be a little bit more flexible. Neuropsychology. I think Ryan Reynolds' dad was also Royal Canadian Mountie Police, RCMP. Interesting. It's 8:30 a.m. in New Zealand. My animals are barking and meowing for their breakfast. I have to go, but I will be back. Amazing. So nice to see you. Enjoy all the content, my friends. And welcome to all of our new friends. If you continue growing like this, we might get your wish of Justin Baldoni on here. I would love, my goal, okay, I'm going to let you guys know my goal. My goal, either this year or next, is to create a podcast space or like a space on the farm where people can come and I can fly people in to interview them around happiness. All right, I'm going to tell you guys something really corny that I haven't told anyone. So I'm only telling all of you here. Do you guys want to hear it? I'm going to tell you guys. All right. I've literally not told anyone before, but it's going to be the radical happiness movement. And I think that's why I've connected to Justin so much, because I really believe that we need more happiness in this world and we need more gratitude. And so I've been creating this radical happiness movement. And the idea is that I'm going to create a space. It's not going to necessarily be a podcasting studio, but it's going to be like a little space that overlooks the forest on our property and overlooks the rescue goats. So the rescue goats would be on one side and the forest would be in front, where I can interview people on radical happiness and living a life of radical happiness. So how cool would it be if we got Justin to be on the podcast and come to the farm? That'd be really cool. That'd be so cool. Anyway, it's a secret. I've told no one except you guys. All right. So this is where I believe Justin, Ryan, and Blake, human design also gives us that perspective, right? And we've broken that down a lot. But I genuinely believe, and I'm not making excuses for them. Please like and subscribe. Yes, you guys are the best. You guys are always looking out for me. I genuinely believe that there is a piece of maybe Ryan, I don't know, Blake, well, I don't know. But I believe there's a place of goodness in everyone, to be honest. I do believe that there's a place of goodness. And I do believe there's a piece of Ryan, particularly, that is almost like jealous, if you will, of someone that can literally live within that. Someone that can genuinely be the light in a room. Someone that genuinely can be the smile in a room, that is magnetic, that is personable, that sees the positive in the bad, and isn't someone that's just going to step on others to get somewhere. I genuinely believe that like I said, I do believe there's goodness in everyone. I have a harder time with everything that Blake has done to people. However, I do believe there's a piece of Ryan in particular that with his upbringing, it was a lot harder for him to access that. And he hid his true emotions under humor to cope. And now he sees someone like Justin. And if we look at that 50% of emotions are your baseline, and I do believe there's a piece that maybe is a little bit jealous, is a little bit wishful that he could access that as well. I like that idea. I'm so glad. Manifestation, you got to bring it into existence. I believe in manifestation. Funny story again, Kitty. This farm that we purchased 2 years ago, I'd always wanted a farm to build a farm animal sanctuary. That was always my goal. And I used to draw a property every single day. Every single day I would draw a property and I'd visualize it, right? And in my visualizations in the kitchen, there was a basket with apples when we moved in. And I was so excited. And when we found this farm, it was exactly the image I'd been drawing. Everything from the older bank barn, the driveway, the big trees in the driveway. It was exactly the farm. You guys are not even, maybe those that believe in manifestation will believe this. There was a basket on the kitchen table, but it had a bottle of wine in it. So I don't know, maybe the universe knows me better than I know myself, but there's a bottle of wine in it. Joe Dispenza, he's fantastic. Yep. The power of belief and becoming superhuman. He is fantastic. My second guess is going to be Emily. Oh my God. We need to get them to Ontario. Yeah. Through positivity, brain, heart, cohesion. You guys are my people. I was a little bit nervous to come on today because I was like, I'm going to be talking about this and people are genuinely going to think, what did I sign up for being here? You guys are my people. So that's my thought process on what the problem really is between them and people that are positive, people that have good energy, people that are genuinely good. Now, they've also discovered that 20 to 30% of business performance is determined by people's moods. So when we also go back to this LA Times article, when we think about the company culture that Justin was trying to create, which people called toxic positivity, there's actual research to show that 20 to 30% of business performance is determined by people's moods. So you can even put aside for a minute the fact that everyone is entitled to building a company culture that's correct for them. In fact, everyone should build a company culture that's correct for them because then it allows you to get the right employees. And when you have the right employees, this is the advice I give my business clients, when you have the right employees and you're all working towards a similar goal and you all have that North Star that you're working towards, retention, you're going to be keeping people. You're not going to have the same turnover as other companies where there's not that cohesion and positivity, if you will, within the workplace. And everyone's going to benefit. The company's going to do better. You're going to make more money, et cetera. But everyone's going to make more money. Everyone's going to do better in that situation. But 20 to 30% of business performance is determined by people's moods. Now, when we look at this research a little bit more, we won't read the whole thing. After the time change here, I don't know if I can do the whole thing. Gentle reminder, like the video. You guys are so good. I always forget. New sub. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the community. I think these two communities are going to get along so well. Please make yourself at home. Honestly, this community will take care of you here. Everyone's so sweet. You guys will find, so those that are new, our live streams tend to be more just hanging out and chatting. There's less structure and pre-recorded content. So all my exposés are a lot more structured. So if you enjoy structure, watch the exposés. If you don't kind of like just flowing, going with the flow, hanging out, live streams might not be for you. That's totally cool. Still hang out with us. All right. We won't go through this whole thing. Let me just move stuff out of the way. But this is looking at broaden and build theory, which is something that's used within positive psychology. I want to go down. If you get seasick, I'm going to be scrolling. Look away. Avert your eyes. Sometimes it's hard to deal with the scrolling because we don't need to go through the whole thing. Let's just look at the conclusion. All right. So in positive psychology, they're called interventions. So something like keeping a gratitude journal, for example, which is an actual positive psychology intervention, would be called, an intervention. Doesn't mean it's like I'm intervening on this person. They need an intervention. No, it's just a way that you assist someone. From the perspective of broaden and build theory, psychosocial interventions designed to augment well-being by leveraging positive emotions hold the promise of reducing symptoms and boosting resources among individuals with various emotion-related disorders. So this might be anxiety, depression, these kinds of things like gratitude journaling, or when you walk on set for the day and everyone says something you're grateful for, or you ask people to sign their emails with love. That is not just building a workplace of gratitude and let's look at it as a growth mindset. Because I know a lot of people are still like, but why do you have to be positive? Doesn't mean ignoring the negative, right? It's positivity and toxic positivity are two totally different things. But it also shows that it's going to have incredible benefits for people on their mental health. Through novel positive experiences, mental training, and engaging in new behaviors, clients can learn to self-generate positive emotions, which in time, here's the word, neuroplastic processes. So remember what I was saying, our brain is actually plastic. So I worked in a neuroplasticity program and an equine assisted therapy program. Okay. So it was neuroplasticity included with equine assisted horse therapy. Are you a fan of the critical drinker? Do not know who that is. Which theory? The broaden theory, broaden and build theory. Where was I going? Oh, the neuroplasticity program was combining NLP with equine assisted therapy for women and men who have been out of the workforce due to anxiety, PTSD, depression, anything really. If you had been out of the workforce due to your mental health, it was helping people go back to the workforce through neuroplasticity and equine assisted therapy. But this was the whole idea, that through these experiences, new experiences, positive emotion, mental training, and engaging in new behaviors, people could literally change brain circuitry and compensate for the constitutional or learned vulnerabilities. So this is going back to what I said, that yes, research traditionally had said 50% of your emotions are predetermined by your genetics. But what we're seeing more and more with research is with neuroplasticity, we can actually rearrange the brain circuitry, create new neural pathways, and compensate for constitutional, which would be genetics, or learned vulnerabilities. So Blake and Ryan, if they truly wanted to be more like Justin, be more positive, have a more positive outlook, they could. Does it take work? It takes a hell of a lot of work. It takes daily work. But it's possible, and the research is showing it. As well, when we're looking at positive emotions, again, this doesn't mean ignoring negative emotions. It's having a growth mindset throughout them. So again, think of something bad happens. And a growth mindset's going to say, I can figure this out. You're going to be able to access the resources internally that allow you to have a creative mindset and figure your way out of the situation. What we used to call victim mindset, which has now been retermed fixed mindset, is where you're going to be like, oh, well, this always happens. And, I always have bad luck and things always happen to me. So why even bother? Right? So we can rewire the brain to have more of a growth mindset. But this also, it broadens thought and action, increases mental flexibility, augments meaning-based coping, motivates engagement in novel activities and social relationships. Now, because positive emotions, although transient, they have lasting consequences. So when we look at actually intentionally building positive emotions, say from a gratitude journal or coming on the set every day and saying what you're grateful for, how Justin did on the set of It Ends With Us, there is so much research to show this man was being legit. This man was being like actually using psychological principles to try and make the workforce a better place. And these people judged him for it. Y'all, like, you guys know Mel's good with the sage as well. I have sage all over, but I honestly think, who was it? Mel, was it you that said it, that the sage just triggered them because of all like the inner demons within them? It just triggered them. But I have sage. I have crystals everywhere. How nice is that one? Dragon. So I really believe I know because of research, Justin was intentionally trying to cultivate a positive environment that would benefit everyone, not just in the workforce, but outside of the workforce too. And they have the audacity to make fun of them for it. Did you guys see the cafe gratitude part in Deadpool with Nice Pool? Oh, here comes cafe gratitude. So not only did they have the audacity to make fun of him for it, but like in Nice Pool, but what I've also heard is people have said on the set, apparently, allegedly, Blake and Jenny, who is problematic in her own right, would kind of roll their eyes at him when he would say things. And if you look at the LA Times article, they say, oh, people can't be that positive. Like, it just feels performative. No, he's actively working to be a better person. And that neuroplasticity and creating new neural pathways. I'm sorry, guys. We're like going there today. I'm sorry if you're new and like, I don't know what I got into. Like, I just wanted to hear about the CIA guy. And now we're getting into like saging the chat. We're always saging the chat when we talk about Blake and Ryan. Legit. Like every time I talk about them, I get more crystals around me to support me during it. Jinx on Nick Shapiro. I love it. But yeah, he was genuinely looking to make the workplace better and cultivate a workplace in what he believed in. Now, if we go a little bit deeper into this research, don't believe me. You don't have to believe me. Believe the research or not. I guess some people don't believe the research either. So, all right. So when we're looking at positive emotions, which are different again than toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing. Toxic positivity is called spiritual bypassing in the spiritual community, and it's just like ignoring everything but the positive, right? That's not the same thing. They build durable personal resources when a cure triggers further positive emotions, leading to self-sustaining upward spirals of well-being. So we talked about that. Remember that clip we saw? Justin said, like, I believe gratitude leads to happiness. So what he's talking about is the upward spiral of emotions, which is a very well-known psychological principle. But you can also do I call it going down the shitter with my clients, where you can also go the opposite way and go downward spiral of emotions, but positive emotions counteract that. Toxic positivity in Italy is spaghetti, Aola Sciglio. I pronounced that so wrong. I'm so sorry. With a fine white wine. Well, now I need white wine and spaghetti for dinner. I have to admit, I genuinely think that the stork messed up, and the way I love my wine and carbs, I genuinely believe there's two places in this world I should have been born: Italy or Australia for the heat. I did love living in Australia, but Italy is somewhere I'd love to go. Oh, I think I was meant to be there. And everyone I meet is so lovely. All right. Self-sustaining, upward spirals of well-being. This is what Justin was trying to do on the set of It Ends With Us. But when you're dealing with people that are in the downward spiral and think that being positive is bad. Oh, here it is. Keep reading, Ashley. Conversely, when negative emotions, so if, say you're having a bad day, okay, so you start having a bad day, something goes wrong, and now you start going down, you're looking for things. You're starting to look for things that prove that it never works out for you, that you have bad luck, that the world's out to get you is basically what happens, right? You can either train yourself to always be looking for the negative or always be looking for the positive. But what also happens when we hit an event, so we hit a trigger, we hit a hard time, we hit something that challenges our nervous system, you have to kind of train yourself. Some people have more resilience around that genetic piece, but otherwise you have to train yourself. Okay, so this thing happened. Am I now going down this negative spiral of emotions, which is what we're seeing here? Or am I going to go upwards? Okay, first thing you can do, this thing happened. Well, I'm grateful for blank. What that does, and it's not spiritual bypassing, it's not bypassing the situation. Scientifically, it opens up creativity. All right, so now you're in a creative mindset because you're having gratitude. And when you're in a creative mindset, you can actually solve the problem. Brisbane and the Gold Coast are flooded from the cyclone. You wouldn't like it right now. That breaks my heart. Do you guys want to know a funny story about Australia, though? The Canadian that went to Australia. So I go to Australia, and I was on the Gold Coast. I'm going to tell you guys a funny story before we continue. And I was petrified to go in the ocean because of sharks, right? So I would kind of go with my feet in the water, and I don't know, Jaws. All right, I grew up in the era of Jaws. Like, I'm just going to blame Jaws. So I was petrified. I'd go up kind of to, like, I don't know, my feet. I eventually worked my way up to my waist. And then one day I was looking and I'm like, what are those? And they weren't too far away. And it was dolphins, right? And I was like, if they can come that close, sharks can come that close. I ran out of the water so fast, and I would be in my pool overlooking the ocean and enjoying the pool and the beautiful weather. But then I said to my friend, who was the Australian and had lived on the Gold Coast her whole life, I said, well, I'm just going to swim in like those canals, like those streams. I'm going to swim over there because there's no great white sharks over there. And she looks at me and she's like, there's sharks in there too. And I go, what? I was like, is there anywhere that there aren't sharks? Like, I was going to stay out of the ocean. I was going to go in the canals, and I didn't think the sharks would get me there. And they just thought I was crazy. But I learned very quickly there are sharks everywhere, apparently, on the Gold Coast. But one of my favorite places on earth. I loved it there. If you are depressed, go out and sit on a bench in the sun. You need sunlight. Yes. Sunlight. You know what's funny? I want to touch on that really quick because we had a horrible winter here in Ontario, Canada. That's where I live. And this morning, so if you guys follow me on Instagram, I'm Ashley Brianna Eve, just my name on Instagram. I posted a video, and I try to be very authentic. Even on my videos that I post that are pre-recorded, I cut out very little. It's just more of dead space that I cut out. And so you see me recording a video, and I go upstairs to the bathroom to look for cleaner because my new puppy peed on the floor. And I'm trying to turn the light off, and I realized it was the sun. We haven't seen the sun here since probably October. It has been so dark and gloomy. All we've had is snow. And it didn't really hit how much that absolutely had impacted my mental health over the winter. Just dealing with constant darkness. So yes, anyway, you do need sun. Brain heart coherence. Yes, so important. Hello from Montreal. Oh my goodness, I love that. I am not too far from you. Actually, some of our rescue goats are up your way where we got them from. I just finished watching your interview. Oh my goodness. Welcome. And you guys, we don't always have such serious talks here. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. Make yourself at home. We don't have such serious talks, but I will say we do tend to like deep talks here. So if you're a fan of Justin Baldoni and how he always talks about he enjoys deep talks and small talk isn't really his jam, you'll enjoy it here. But we also do sprinkle in lightness as well. All right. Is there anything else I want to say here? Oh, okay. So with negative emotions, we can go into a downward spiral. So defensive behaviors, focusing on the threat, feelings of inefficiency, self-destructive tendencies, devastating psychopathology, impoverished, which can lead to vicious cycles leading to impoverished life experiences. So when we go into those downward spirals, that's usually where, and we've all been there. One thing for this channel that I feel is so important for all of us is no one's perfect. My friends, you will continue at some point in life to go on a downward spiral. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not doing life wrong. You are going to hit hard times still where you wonder, how do I get through this? You're going to hit hard times where it challenges every resource within you. That's okay. You're human. And I think that's one of the most important things if we're going on a self-development journey or spiritual journey to recognize, because one of the things that happens with so many clients I've worked with over the years is they think, well, I thought I worked on this already. Man, I'm such a failure. No, you're human. And that's exactly what Justin talks about as well in those clips that we've played from him. That's not about being perfect. Oh, hello, Leanne. It's so nice to see you. We have been chatting back and forth all day, getting an expose ready for you guys. It's so close to being done. The last 2 weeks, I've just been trying to survive getting through my schedule, but I have more time to hang out with you guys now and sign up for your human design. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome, Crystal. That is so exciting. Did you know human design previously? A lot of the channel here is getting to know human design in real time. So I would love to know if you knew human design before hearing me talk. You brought tears to my eyes. I love you guys. Welcome to all the new community members. Please make yourself at home. It is such a wonderful, I feel like you guys are family. I often talk about the channel. If you guys catch me, I always say like us or we, because I don't feel this is my channel. I don't feel this is, I don't know. It's us. It's our channel. It's like a family. It's a big family here. All right. So the structural differences between upward and downward spirals are largely incompatible, and thus positive emotions may exert a countervailing force on the fearful emotion-related disorders. So basically what we're saying is upward spirals can counteract downward. You can't have both at once is essentially what the research is saying there. So what I would encourage, look, it's like, here we are. What I would encourage you guys to do, and maybe we can do it as a community because I could use this as well, is a daily gratitude journal. It's simple, takes a few minutes. We can do it in honor of Justin Baldoni. Maybe it can get back to him one day that he spurred that kind of movement. But let's look at, that piece of the radical happiness movement of what I desire to create and will be creating and am creating is what if right now, starting today, you spent a couple minutes just writing out 10 things you're grateful for and challenge yourself every day for it to be different. And how could that change your life? Because it's going to be very hard in those times. And what I would say is, especially in those times, because upward spiral they're incompatible. Upward spiral emotions are incompatible with downward, which means there is no way to be grateful and fearful at the same time. You cannot. That is what the research is saying. You cannot be grateful and fearful at the exact same time. So if you can focus your energy and start to rewire those neural pathways within your brain to start seeking things you're grateful for rather than seeking things you're fearful for, it's going to change the game. Something I do with my business clients all the time is business can be so unpredictable. It sounds great working for yourself, and then you build a business and you're like, oh my goodness. But working with them on gratitude can help counteract that fear because you genuinely cannot be grateful and fearful at the same time. And then what goes hand in hand with that is you can't be grateful and fearful at the same time, but also you can't have a creative mindset and have a problem-solving mindset from fear. You shut down. Your energy starts to fall in on itself. There's actual research showing that. So your energy actually starts to collapse in on itself in those fearful states, as an example, right? When you're in the downward spiral. But research has shown that when you are in the upward spiral, your energy starts to literally come outwards, take up more space. You have a creative energy, creative mindset when you're in the positive. So I always say it's not about never being fearful. And it's not about not acknowledging what fear is when it comes up. Acknowledge the fear. Be present with it. But can we do it almost with a smile? I haven't introduced you guys to Gene Keys yet here. Gene Keys is something I work with my clients on as well. But Gene Keys, Richard Rudd, the founder of Gene Keys, he always says, can you approach it with a smile? So can you approach that fear with a smile? Can you approach that hard time with a little bit of a smile? Let's see what you guys are up to in the chat. I had no idea. Oh my goodness. I love that. Just jumping in. It was funny because in my head during the interview with the wonderful Flossom Talk, guys, go check out Flossom Talk. Let me grab, I'm sure everyone knows the channel, but let me grab it and drop it in the chat just in case. Our friend Shasti Flaw of the channel. So if you're not a friend of hers, head on over. She's so wonderful. I am just more convinced than ever that Blake and Ryan Blake, I guess, is the one that was in the interview room with her, just has an issue with people that are positive because she is as wonderful as you could ever imagine. But anyway, so yes, this is my theory on why I believe Ryan and Blake struggle with Justin so much is because he's genuinely just someone that's working on himself. Whatever you do in life, and if you are in a difficult situation, talk to as many people as possible can, and through those contacts, your break will come. That is fantastic advice. You're just bringing the wisdom today, my friend. Agree. All right, journal entry today. I'm grateful for all of you today. I love that. Honestly, I have tears rolling down my face while smiling. I love that. That is going in my journal as well. Oh, so what I was going to say is when the words human design came out of my mouth in the interview, I was like, oh, Ashley, you had to get all weird, eh? You had to bring up human design because I hadn't spoken to her about it previously, but I'm glad that it kind of landed and opened up curiosity about human design. So it's all about finding your strengths. Actually, I can pull up Justin's chart. I have nothing to do right now. I have no call. We can pull up Justin's chart really quick. I've had some requests to do Joe Alwyn's again. I had a video up ages ago. Love your content. You're so sweet. I had a YouTube ages ago where it was more of just like business advice. And I had done one on Joe Alwyn at that time, but I shut down my channel a while ago and then just restarted it from scratch. What you don't realize is if you delete everything with YouTube, you literally start from scratch. You start ground zero. Everything is connected. It absolutely is. Spiritual and self-reflective people scare narcissists. Yep, they feel exposed. Absolutely. So this is Justin's chart. So anyone that's new to human design. And essentially what we're looking at, we'll just give a crash course on it, is your strengths. So it goes right into positive psychology because positive psychology is going to say you're a little blind to what you do best. And so one of the things that, I'm just going to plug in my computer. It's going to die. One of the things that I find so profound with Justin, whether he knows his human design or not, is he has what's called a profile 3-5. Your profile is how the world's meant to see you, but also how you live out your purpose. And the 3-5 means essentially you go through life through trial and error. And we have seen that even in today in Justin's videos where he talks about trial and error and how much he struggled at times, but he uses those experiences to grow. So the third line, this 3 in the front, is all about the trial and error experience and leveraging that to help others, essentially, to have the solutions, the 5th line, to help others. And I think he just beautifully represents someone that has used his past experience to support and serve others, who has used his past experience not as shame or something shameful to hide or feel guilty upon, but to use that as a story through his TED Talk and through Man Enough to really change the narrative with the 5th line. But his life is marked by unexpected situations. And so I really believe this is going to be a big catalyst for him again in his own spiritual evolution. Now, something that we talked about quite frequently with Justin as well in terms of human design is his motivation, his need. So how he's meant to make decisions is what he needs. Like literally almost like this selfishness. I need this. I need this for my creative self-expression, gate 1. I need this because it's in alignment with my behavior and my code of behavior and what's important to me. So when we look at how he built Wayfair and all the projects he took on, it was like this deep need of like being deeply connected to his unique self-expression and what he felt needed to also be brought out into the world. But where I think things went wrong with It Ends With Us is he started to get into the shadow of fear. Transference, the best way to understand, is kind of your shadow. And so we got in the shadow of fear. Fear of maybe trying to prove himself with an open ego. Fear of upsetting Blake with an open solar plexus. This is the solar plexus here. Fear of, what does this mean about me as a director, as someone in the industry, if I upset like the Blake Lively and the Taylor Swift and the Ryan Reynolds? So he started to operate from fear rather than what he needed for creative self-expression. But the problem is, as soon as you start operating through that fear, it's like dominoes that start falling. And the more she was able to take control of him, the more she was able to overstep boundaries, and the more he would continue to make decisions from fear. And you can kind of see that go through the timeline with him on his website, where it's like he didn't want to give her control. He starts acquiescing, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse until you look at the text messages where the one about the marketing where she calls her and Ryan the mob or the mafia or something. And he says, this isn't even a hill I'm going to die on. It's about the marketing of the movie. This isn't even a hill I'm going to die on, he says. And it's just that you can see all those decisions along the way where he kept making these decisions from fear rather than what he needed. And again, when we look at your human design chart, anything colored in is going to be what's consistent within you. It's your strength, an inherent strength you have. Yet, we have spent, and he talks about this a lot as well, we spent our entire lives trying to shore up our weaknesses and try to fix what we are not, right? Positive psychology talks on that too. This is something I talk about with my business clients as well. It's like, build a business based on who you are. Build a business based on what you do best, not trying to shore up your weaknesses. Not trying to be something you're not because you think that's going to get you seen or that's going to let you fit in at the table. Because as soon as you start doing that, that's where you might see momentary success, momentary fitting in, but it's going to blow up in your face later. Maybe the fear that he didn't let Blake walk all over him. He wouldn't live up to the person he preaches for others to strive to be himself. Absolutely. For Justin. I believe that. And it's interesting you say that, Leo, because with the open ego here, so this, whenever something's white, it's where we gain wisdom. It doesn't mean you don't have willpower, right? So this would be ego, willpower. Doesn't mean you don't have willpower. It's inconsistent. So we experience life through that. And one of the deepest shadows of that center is making promises to yourself you can't keep and making promises to others you can't keep in an attempt to prove yourself, right? So I absolutely agree with you, Leo, that could be how Justin, kind of how she got in. And, he might be like, well, I have to prove that I'm who I say I am. I have to prove, potentially, right? I have to prove that this is the man I say I am and the values I stand for. And would it go against what I say if I didn't give her that control? It is absolutely a possibility with his design. And so he's going against what he needs. He's now seeing the world's perspective, not through what he wants, but through survival. I just have to survive the situation. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so fearful on what she's going to do, what she's going to pull. Does this hurt my brand? Are people going to think I'm a fraud? So now he's in survival. I'm just trying to survive this. I'm in fear. I'm just going to give her what she wants. And each step takes him further and further and further off track. And his channel, 27 to 50, which is so interesting. I have a lot of clients that have this channel. And with this channel, it's tribal. That's what it's called, tribal circuitry in human design. You have individual, collective, or tribal. And with this channel, it's like taking care of your people. It's custodianship, quite literally. Taking care of those that you care about. Being there for those that you care about. Now, one of the things that can happen with this channel, though, is you're not filling your cup first. So you're putting others' needs or wants before your own out of fear. And that's where he could absolutely be taken off track. So interesting. I have to hop off. Thank you for being here. Yeah, dive into the content later, rewatch later. Absolutely. Welcome everyone from Flossom Talk. Yes, welcome you guys. I just found out Swift saying to play back on all her tours, so we have to fix this world. Oh my goodness. Hi, Ashley. Hello. It's so nice to see you. Just saw your interview. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that I saw you're on here and rushed over. I love it. Oh, well, thank you guys. That's very kind. I was very nervous because I've looked up to her. I've looked up to her from day one when I found her. So I was very nervous. Blake weaponized Justin against himself. Yes, absolutely. 100%. And you can start to see, right? How I'm going to just stop sharing for a second. So for those that are new, I can show you Blake's briefly, and then I'll have to get going shortly, but I just don't want to not accidentally, but when I pull up my library, I can pull up client charts, and that is a huge breach. Let's find Blake. And share again. So you can book human design calls with me. I do these for clients all the time. And so when we look at Blake's chart, her perspective is wanting. So how she sees the world is all about, what do I want? What do I want? But we also look at her chart, and she has, this is again, so where Justin's was white, completely white. So when you see this, where it's completely white and hers is all colored in here, this red triangle, the ego with all these lines coming out of it, that is someone that has a very strong ego. Are they always going to be, negative or problematic? No, doesn't mean that someone's negative. They're going to be negatively inclined or steamroll people just because they have a very strong ego. But that's someone, like, when you put together someone that's meant to see the world based on what she wants, and all of this is like design of needing to be first, you kind of have a recipe for a disaster when this person has learned how to manipulate. We see that. That's not me making it up about Blake. She admits. She says, I turned the entire cast against, I can't remember now, on Gossip Girls. Was it Penn? Badgley, maybe? But I turned everyone against him. So she's used to it, right? She's used to kind of getting what she wants. She's used to using her energy against people, using her ego and what she wants against people. And so this can be someone that can very easily steamroll. And with this channel here, the 5 to 15 channel of rhythm, and I've had people in the comments before say this as well and share their experience. This is someone that will, like, if you let them, suck you into their flow, for better or worse. When I tell clients with this channel, it could be for better because you're, in a certain mindset, you're in a certain vibration and energy, and now everyone else is feeling that way. But it can also be, if you're in that downward spiral of emotions, for the bad, for the negative. And if you have someone like Justin, who had a very specific vision for the film, and now he's starting to work through fear, starting to, survival, give her what she wants, like, just let her have what she wants so she doesn't lose her mind. Well, now you have everyone being sucked into her flow, where it's like, now Blake's getting whatever she wants. She's firing people, bringing people in, and it just causes a disaster. But this is a very strong energy chart. I've always said about Blake, a lot of potential to be an incredible leader, a very strong leader. But the problem is when you get this energy in the shadow, it's also very easy to take advantage and steamroll people. But I've always said, I think her chart, so much potential to be an incredible leader. Penn Badgley, that's who it was. Yeah. Yeah, when Blake attempted to poison the Gossip Girl cast against him. So we've seen her. Like the stream. Thank you. Yes, like, subscribe while you're here. Live streams are very different than pre-recorded content. I like just hanging out with you guys and talking about different topics on lives. So when you see her in this perspective of wanting, now, it's not really negative, right? Like, that's how she's meant to see the world. What do I want? Someone with a very strong ego. What do I want based on needing to be first, based on my direction, based on my flow? But again, there can be a light or a dark to any energy. Just because that's how you're supposed to be operating doesn't mean you're doing it in a healthy way or in a way that's in integrity. But I honestly, I'll go to the grave saying it. Her chart is, she has the same channel as Taylor with channel of surrender. That's the channel of the entrepreneur, someone that has a lot of potential on the material plane. Knows essentially, you see this with Taylor all the time, knows what to sell people. Can read people like a book and knows what to sell them, right? But I think, honestly, her ego gets in the way of all of that. And I think that's why a lot of her brands that could be incredibly successful aren't, because her ego gets in the way. That's my interpretation. Blake is just a restless and judgy woman. She has unrealistic standards for herself and others, and deeply insecure, so steamrolls people. I feel like she has mother issues. Yeah. She's absolutely poisoned people against Justin as well. Yeah, absolutely. You said her energy is crunchy. Yes. Yes, it's crunchy, right? And often to be a really powerful leader, there does have to be a level of crunch to someone's energy. And it doesn't sage and holy water and blessed oils. That's what Justin needed on the set. Yeah. So anyway, that's a quick breakdown of their charts, but Justin's very open. And so that also leads someone that's very open a little bit more vulnerable to being pulled off track. All of that white is where he's taking in others' energy, where he's taking in the world. And then we look at his design, it's all about serving others, taking care of others. 38 to 28 is a design of struggle and stubbornness, because it's like, I know what's worth fighting for. And I honestly believe that him getting stuck in this pattern and making decisions from fear, he kind of, again, put his strength, right? What did I say in regards to our strengths? We're so conditioned to try and shore up our weaknesses. So I really believe that he had got to this place where he was no longer leveraging his strengths of taking care of his people, which to him would have been even the movie, right? And DV's survivors and the people as an extension of that. And he didn't really know what was worth fighting for. The stubbornness had kind of gone. So he was just like, whatever, just let her have it. At this point, I don't really care. How Blake views others and treats others literally tells us how she feels internally about herself. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. I'm going to check before I let you go. So every time I let you guys go, and then there's like something crazy hits the news. I'm not seeing any. Oh, actually, I do have something for you guys. I do, from LZ over on Instagram. Let me find this. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I'm going to find it. All right. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm going to play it before we go.
You're doing breaking news, reporting live. Blake Lively is a fucking liar. I have read this amended complaint, this lawsuit, Blake Lively's complaint. I recognize these complaints like I recognize my own face in a mirror. Somebody sent me this video around 4 a.m., 3 a.m. this morning from Katie Joy. I said, girl, where have you seen this before? Then it dawned on me, you haven't seen this, you've read it. This is page 14 of Blake Lively's CRD complaint. For instance, Mr. Baldoni discreetly bit and sucked on Miss Lively's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised. Hold the fuck up. Okay, now we're gonna jump to page 28 and page 29 of the amended complaint. May 23rd, 2023, Baldoni during a scene in which the cast is wearing loose-fitting onesies. Later that day, during this action sequence, Lively and Baldoni's characters would kiss, which is all caught on camera. Lively's complaint later accuses Baldoni of discreetly biting and sucking on Miss Lively's lower lip. Well, here's the money shot, Blake. That is literally you holding that man's lower lip between your teeth. No teeth, my ass, Blake. No teeth, my ass. Pay that man. Pay that man, because if Brian Friedman gets a hold of this, it's curtains for you. As always, this message has been brought to you by, if you fuck around long enough, it doesn't matter who you are. You will find out. My God. Happy Monday. Go with God.
Have you guys seen that? Ryan's going to sue him for $100 million trillion dressed as Dr. Evil. Oh my gosh, you guys are my people. Wild, right? Wild. Blake melting, kissing him straight versus by Ryan dating Hugh on the side. Oh my gosh. This is wild. I love her. Yeah, she's so funny. Pay that man. I don't even know what to say, guys. I don't even know. Why is I keep being told my phone keeps going off and I think I'm having messages or there's an emergency. And it keeps telling me my iCloud space is full. It's always full. All right, so there's that. Let me see if I can find anything else before I let you guys go. But if you guys are interested in human design, you can check out my website. I actually kept so my human design readings used to be much more money, and then they're lower in honor of Alaska. It's a long story, but my dog that passed away, he inspired it when we got hit with a lot of medical bills around him. To try and save his life, which we fought so hard to try and save his life. I brought back those readings and I hadn't done them in ages. And unfortunately, despite every effort, we lost him. And I was like, you know what? I had so much fun, genuine fun meeting people on those calls and just getting to know new people that I kept them around. So those human design readings are available over on the website. Okay. Justin Baldoni. Let's see if there's anything with him. No, but like, yeah, Blake, I would imagine, let's stop and share. So if you guys know anything, we talk about SEO manipulation a lot here because my background also in branding and marketing. And so I see it, right? Like I've never done the PR side. I could care less about the PR side in terms of doing it for business, but I help clients build brands and create marketing plans and work with a lot of high-powered PR teams in conjunction for clients over the last many years. So I see it from a mile away whenever I see SEO manipulation or reputation laundering. Did you guys actually see my Instagram post about reputation laundering with Ryan? Do we need to discuss that here? Did you guys see it? Over from Flossom Talk. Well, welcome to the community, guys. Oh my goodness. I'm so honored. I'm so honored to have you guys here. Everyone is so sweet in the chat. So please just make yourself at home. I have not seen that yet. Yeah. It's wild. Okay. So let's just have a look. I haven't checked her name yet today to see what's going on. So Anna Kendrick responds to Blake Lively questions at South by Southwest. So it looks like, yeah, there's not a lot coming up first. If I just type in Blake Lively news, there is not a lot coming up over her. I'm actually surprised. So Blake Lively, Anna Kendricks, Another Simple Flavor, director slams claims that they're not getting along. There is not a lot. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her team, but there is not a lot here, guys. I'm shocked. Oh, the big news 2 hours ago. I hope this isn't a PR attempt. Oh my gosh, ads. No, I don't want to send feedback. Go away. All right. Blake Lively kicks off Another Simple Favor dressing with nearly $6,000 martini purse. That's the big PR news, is it? Oh my God. I feel like she should take a page from Taylor Swift's playbook and use like Blake Lively makes massive donation to charity. Like Taylor, that is a big way where she, will do things now is donations. But the martini purse, someone's asleep. Or maybe she fired everyone. She might have fired everyone and be like, you know what the people want? The people want to know about my $6,000 martini purse. That will make me seem relatable to the people. That is what will work. $6,000 for that. I could buy a lot of hay and grain for $6,000 for the animal. Actually, I wouldn't go that far, but Love human design. I love it. That makes me so happy. My dream podcast is Justin, Ashley, Kirsty, Colonel Kurtz, and Popcorn Planet. I might pass out though. I would probably have to take like, I don't know, something that, a doctor prescribed to keep me calm enough for that one, because those are all the names that I absolutely love. So 6K purse. She walked the red carpet at South by Southwest premiere with cocktail in hand. Well, kinda. That's one way to go about it. I don't know. I feel like her best move would have been asking Taylor Swift to borrow Tree Payne. However, I don't know if you guys knew, when Tree Payne left her previous job and started up her PR agency, she only has one client. There's a certain someone that is her full-time job, quite literally, to do PR for. And that is Taylor Swift. So I don't know if Taylor and Tree would have helped her out at all, but someone needs to help this girl. Especially if this is the PR that she's getting. Although she might be driving the bus at this point. Ah, darn it. Now it's going to keep me stuck in this loop. Let's see if there's anything else about Blake. She removes her latex shirt dress to reveal another outfit underneath. For someone that got so offended about being asked about the costumes and the outfits in a period piece, a lot of her PR is around her clothes. Yeah, just a lot of Paul Feig addressing the drama, a little bit of poor Anna. All Anna's getting lately is like how she shaded Blake. Yeah, it's not a lot. I'm surprised. I genuinely thought there'd be more. I feel like they're regrouping. Taylor Swift is in an abusive relationship with Tree Payne because Tree has so much dirt. Yeah, if Taylor ever crosses Tree, I don't even doubt that. There is a lot. I'm sure you sign all these riders, but at the end of the day, or all these confidentiality things, riders. But anyway, she definitely dressed herself for that premiere, because what was she even wearing? I don't know. It's like latex over. What are those? Is bubble tea? That's what I always called it. It looked like bubble tea, her dress to me, which also made me want bubble tea. And I don't know where to get it locally, but it reminds me of bubble tea. The little like bubbly things at the bottom, which, by the way, I didn't realize like how many calories are in those. I used to drink like 2 a day, but it's an interesting choice. It kind of gives me a little bit of like almost Stepford Wives. I don't know why it has that vibe for me, but it kind of does. Paul Feig said they are not feuding. Yeah. Okay, Paul. Sure. He needs to come out with some PR too, because, well, no one's covering it, but his wife went all unhinged in the comments section. I have to finish my tiramisu. Okay, I am jealous now. I am jealous. Now I need tiramisu. Enjoy, my friend. So nice to have you here. Her constant smiling gives me Xanax vibes. Yeah. How do we schedule having our chart done, and can it be done via email, or does it have to be on the phone? Us introverts want to know. That's so funny. It's done over Zoom, and I can understand that being an introvert and being nervous. I swear I don't bite. I can drop my website. I'm an introvert too. Believe it or not, I'm actually a big time introvert. Welcome. Oh my gosh, your dog's adorable. We are huge dog lovers around here. You are going to fit in so well. Have you looked at Liz Plank? How did she and Justin get together? Because she met Ryan Reynolds first. No, but that is actually, I can write that down and I can look into it. Once I am done, I had to move my crystals that I put all over when I talk about Blake and Ryan. Once I am done my expose on dog pool, we can do Liz next. Absolutely. So that's actually a good point. She's next, but we do have to do dog pool first. Now I have the time to finish that up. You're welcome, my friend. Has anyone suggested voice lessons or told her to stop flailing her arms? I do send business clients to voice lessons very frequently to learn how to speak. And yes, I do think Blake could definitely use that. Paul Feig does need better PR because I thought he was an out and proud gay man. My bad. Okay, with my video. So I have a video, guys. I have the screenshots, but the screenshots are on the video of what happened with his wife going all unhinged and his comment section. I had more people shocked by the fact he had a wife than I had people shocked that she was going unhinged in the comments. Yes, and she was behind the fan section. Yes. I have a post on Instagram. I do like shorter posts, especially if I've had a long day and I can't do another reel. On Instagram, I put more static posts and carousels and stuff, but that's where I put it, was over on Instagram. Yeah, she was in the fan section. Because do you guys remember we were talking about how it was weird that she was like she touched the fan's jaw, right? Turns out it's Paul's wife. It was like, Blake, take a picture with me. I love you, Blake. Take a picture. It was Paul's wife. Yay for dog pool. We're almost there, sister. We're almost there. I finally have time. The last 2 weeks, my goal has been to survive because I took time off after my dog Alaska passed away. So I had, guys, the amount of calls, it was wild. So finally I have time to finish, organize everything, get it nicely laid out so it flows. So we have a timeline. We're going to do dog pool first, and then we can look into Liz Plank. Stepford Wives, right? So it's not just me. I thought that as well. Positive psychology meets neuroscience. It's like just a casual Monday in the chat and on the channel. It's wild. Me too, introverts, let's stay at home. I love it. I had someone once ask me if I would do retreats, and I was like with people here, like a group of people. I'm a fourth line though. For anyone that knows human design, I'm a fourth line. And with fourth lines, you get people fatigue really easy. So I don't know if there's anyone here that knows their human design profile. If you're a fourth line, you get people fatigue very easily. And so I feel like a retreat where I was like at a retreat, I was asked to be on a reality show for like spiritual coaches and coaches. I was asked to be on a reality show and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do it. Can't do it. Can't be around people that much. But anyway, yes. So she has that Stepford Wife's outfit. She did her. Melanie King is getting like just dragged across X by calling the costume change, which she kind of did. She waited to take it off until the cameras were there. I mean, I agree with her because she did this like, I need to take the top layer off. And then she took it off. And then everyone was talking about that. It's a very weird outfit. It's a very weird outfit. I don't know. Now I want bubble tea and tiramisu though. We need more people where? Oh, on this live. Ever since I did. So we used to get a lot more on lives. And then I did. Who's seen the expose on Nick Shapiro with Black Box? Have you guys watched that one yet? Those that are new might not have seen it. So if you just came over from Flossom Talk, you probably haven't seen it yet. But ever since we did the expose, I get like a fraction. I get like no reach. TikTok's improving. People on TikTok have just been crazy where they're like, everything that I post are just commenting, tagging my stuff and other people's stuff. And it's starting to repair over on TikTok. Instagram's still really low. And YouTube is like, ever since I talked about Black Box, which is interesting. So, but yes, I agree. YouTube, just get over it. Nick Shapiro had to be exposed at the end of the day. I don't know how. And my biggest issue with Nick Shapiro, the hiring of Nick Shapiro, I can pull it up really quick. Ugh, I already said his name. but I've had a hard time with the channel since then. A very hard time. But I will also not be silenced. And I'm also not, everyone keeps saying like, use code names. I'm like, no, I'll say it with my full chest. If I believe in something or I'm exposing something or I'm calling something out, I'm going to say it with my full chest. And it might mean that it impacts the algorithm, but that's okay. I'm going to say it with my full chest. I'm not hiding from Nick Shapiro. So we did a video exposing him. And so that's Nick Shapiro, Blake Lively's new PR guy, which I don't think he's PR. I think he's being labeled as crisis PR. He's not crisis PR. He's a fixer. Who's seen Ray Donovan here? Love Ray Donovan. Is internet? He is. There is something going on ever since I called him out. My stuff is, I've been really struggling. That's okay. Everything works out for the best. So he is, I believe, not PR for Blake. He's a fixer. You don't hire someone like him for PR. He's more making things disappear or taking things out rather than putting things in. So I know there's a lot of speculation on what he's putting into the news. I'm not saying it's never happened and it won't happen, but primarily someone like him, it's going to be more fixing behind the scenes. Do we have any proof of him doing that? Yeah, we do. We do. Airbnb black box team pays guests and hosts millions after incidents in rental properties to keep things quiet and to keep things out of the news. That was literally his job. Reports revealed that Airbnb has been spending approximately $50 million a year to keep serious incidents in its rentals out of the press through the use of a black box team. Guess who was head of Black Box? Nick Shapiro. I had someone on, I think it was on TikTok say, or maybe X, I don't know. There's so many apps these days. I grew up in the days of MySpace. So many apps now. But anyway, I had someone say, oh, he's probably just a janitor at the CIA. And, you know, everyone's giving him too much credit. No, he was not just a janitor. He was directly involved with the major crises in the US and internationally, like speaking with journalists, planting stories, creating the narrative. And that's exactly what he did over at Airbnb as well. So he was basically given blank checks to members of the black box team to make things go away. Many of the agents include those with military or emergency service backgrounds. Nick Shapiro, pictured above, former National Security Council advisor to former President Barack Obama and deputy chief of staff at the CIA, was among those hired to the team. He has since left his position as global head of crisis management at Airbnb. So anyway, I have a full other video on that. But this man's bad news. He's bad news. TikTokers need to make troll comedy about Nick Shapiro. Yeah. Leslie Sohn could be counted as a janitor. He can't fix away this lie. I agree. Blake started. I don't care how good he is. Justin has random strangers all over the world supporting him. Absolutely. From South Africa, amazing. And that's the thing, you know, I get people in my comments being mad sometimes, be like, oh, you're making us political. I'm unsubscribing. Saying who Nick Shapiro worked for isn't making it political. And I'm not even American. I'm not even American. I know I wear a jacket that has American flag on it, but it came with the American flag. I offset it with my Canadian hat that I wear frequently, but I'm not even American. There's people from all over the world that are interested in this case and absolutely support Justin. It's not a political side, and it's fine. Those people aren't meant to be a part of the community. But anyway, that's who this guy is. He is Bad News Bears. And it's not a coincidence that we're seeing people's Wikipedias attacked, social media down. There was actually a blind item, which I was like, I called it. I didn't send the blind item in. It wasn't me. Although I'm not anyone enough to be able to send a blind item in where they'd actually listen to me. But there was a blind item that came out that said he's going around and suppressing hashtags. He's going around suppressing content. So he is. Absolutely. And I see it all the time on my page. But another way that someone else, we'll just pull up my Instagram. Another thing that they do, not saying, I need that on a t-shirt, Bad News Bears. I love it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, nice to know how committed a former CIA agent is to undermine justice to make us feel secure. Yep. Everyone, worldwide, you got it, worldwide. Not think he walked over to work at Airbnb. I think he got fired at CIA. He's slimy and disgusting person. He got caught for the paper trail. I don't know the timeline of everything, but the point is that he worked for a team with CIA, for Black Box for Airbnb that quite literally was covering up SH, murder, kidnappings, stalking. They were covering bullet holes in walls so that it would cover up the story, paying off people that lost their kids. Like, I don't care how he ended up there. That's not a good guy. He's not a good guy at the end of the day. So another thing, not saying this is what's happening here, but another thing that often crisis managers will do is reputation laundering. Okay, so I'm not saying this is what is happening there. I'm just saying this can happen. So what you're seeing, if you type in Ryan Reynolds' name, what you're seeing a lot of is Wrexham, and now worth 4,900% more at 100 million. This is a form, it can be, of reputation laundering. So covering up controversy by performing highly visible positive actions with the intent to improve your reputation, obscure your history. So we're seeing this all over the headlines right now with Ryan. And another thing that can happen with this is like massive donations, right? Like, don't look over there at what I did or what people are accusing me of. Look at this 10 million donation I made. Am I not a great person? Would this person do that? Of course they wouldn't, right? So reputation laundering, actually a lot of people in PR are saying this is becoming more and more popular since about 2024. So it's getting more, people are being hired more and more for reputation laundering. So this would include astroturfing, greenwashing, large donations. There's a friend of Blake and Ryan that does that a lot. Legal strong arming, working with the media. So Nick did that for the government. He did that for Airbnb. I have no doubt that is exactly what he's doing for Blake. Investments in or buying sports teams. Sports teams are huge for reputation laundering. And if you go back and you track a lot of the big news with Ryan and Wrexham, you can see it coincide with major acting events and other business ventures. So it's not necessarily only adding it to bad times. You can add it to good times, right? So for example, I can't remember the one off the top of my head, but something to do with Deadpool. You can combine them in the news. So you look like a badass in business because look at your team and look at your movie that you made. So it can be used both ways. It's not just when things are going bad, but buying sports teams is huge. It's huge. But anyway, all right, my friends, I got to go. I have animals to feed on the farm, animals to take care of. It was so nice hanging out with you guys. Also, football clubs are good for money laundering. Nailed it. Mm-hmm. Isn't Ryan losing money on a lot of his so-called business ventures? I don't know why people believe these celebrities who claim to be so much richer than they are. I genuinely don't know. I haven't looked at all of his business ventures to be able to give you an accurate answer to that. But it looks like Wrexham's doing really well based on what the news is saying in the last little bit. Shasti made a "Oh You Know" t-shirt. Can't wait to wear it. I love that. Well, guys, your Wikipedia is all made up and nearby woke globalists. I think, the thing with Wikipedia, I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory that I believe it was always made with the intention of being a PR stunt. But that's just my conspiracy theory. The news lies about Justin all the time. Absolutely. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. The lives are always a little bit more relaxed, but I create a lot of pre-recorded content as well. Make sure to check out the exposés. So we did exposés on Ryan, Ari Emanuel, who came out as his ride or die. We also exposed how Ari refused to work with Wesley Snipes. At the same time, it was just shortly before, Ryan was set to take over the Blade franchise, and then Wesley was turned over to the IRS. It was crazy time. We exposed that, and we exposed Nick as well. So we do a lot of exposés here. You're welcome, my friends. It was so nice to hang out with you guys. It's so nice to meet so many new friends to the channel. Thank you for hanging out with me, my friends. I will see you in the next one. Until then, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you soon.